Okay. Hi, I'm here with William Ritter from FlyTri Racing. He is the subject I picked for my podcast episode. He's the founder and head coach of FlyTri Racing. There in Tyler. It's a triathlon and a run coaching practice. He works with all ages, from junior high schoolers on up to we got even one up in his 70s. He's been my coaching mentor, and also my own personal coach, as well as I began my coaching career. But I picked him because endurance sports, they require many of the different tools that we've discussed in class. William, wanted to first ask, is it okay if we record this?
Yeah, it is. Thanks for having me on, DJ.
Oh, cool. Well, awesome. Well, I tell you what, William, we've only got about 10 minutes. We need to make it a little bit quick because I know there's a lot to get to. Hopefully, we can cover a lot of different things in this.
Uh,
But first, I just wanted to ask you to give us a little bit of background about yourself. I understand that you graduated from UT Tyler. Just give us a little bit of background and
yeah,
tell me why you coach.
I graduated from UT Tyler in 2007. I'm originally from Carthage, Texas, where I began running at the age of 12 and kind of evolved from there. I ran for UT Tyler cross country back in the day, and we had one of the best teams in the conference at the time, and that was exciting to be a part of. And I got involved into triathlons thanks to a few mentors at the time. Coach Hepler was the cross country coach back then, and he was doing triathlons along with a teammate, Chauncey Deller. And there was another guy, Steve Ferris, who all helped me get into the sport of triathlon at that time. And that's how I got started after running collegiately in college. And then it wasn't long later, I got into triathlons, and then I met a triathlon coach who ended up coaching me, and kind of inspired me to want to be a coach later after that. So you asked me why do I coach? I've been involved in endurance sports since the age of 12, and I just love sharing the passion that I have for sports with others, and I love helping athletes achieve achieve their goals no matter what they are. And I've worked with athletes from like as starting as young as sixth grade up to got a guy in his almost mid 70s that's that's out there running today.
Yeah, he's out there
Yeah,
killing it too. Yeah.
he is.
What would you say are three components of your coaching philosophy?
As far as coaching others, trust, communication, and having fun. The athlete has to trust you first to know what you're doing, building relationships with them, and guiding them, and know that they can guide you in the right direction. And then communication is the second part. You got to have good communication with your athlete. Things are always changing, and and a coach needs to, he needs to do what he says he's going to do, and so the athlete can depend on him for that. And the next component is the athlete has to have fun with it. It's got to be fun for the athlete. If the athlete's not having fun, he's not going to perform well, and it's probably not going to be a good coaching relationship between you and the athlete. So all those go into it.
Yeah. Is there one of those that you would say is more important than the others?
And not really. They all blend together as far as importance goes.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like they all kind of depend on each other to work in a lot of ways.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If you're not having fun, you're probably not communicating or trusting your coach very well, and
That's
vice versa.
that's true. Yeah. How how would you say that might be different how you approach it versus like how yourself as an athlete? Because I know that you like to train yourself. You ride and stuff. I know you've been trying to get back into running. You've had the foot issue, but I know that you do enjoy training yourself. How may your self talk during like your own sessions differ from what you may say to an athlete?
Yeah, it's not much difference. All those come back to me when I'm training myself and we're racing, for that matter. Is, for example, you got to find a mantra that works with you and resonates with you. I tell athletes to find something that resonates with them. Find a mantra that works for you, such as maybe telling yourself quick, got to have quick legs. So tell yourself quick legs over and over again when you're racing, or you got this, or you can push through, things like that, and repeat that over and over again.
Yeah. Do you think there's something about the repetition in itself that really helps, or do you think it's more of it being something positive?
Yeah, good question. I think it's both. You gotta repeat it over and over again, obviously to believe it, and keep telling yourself that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, they both go hand in hand there.
Yeah. So, how have you applied some of these elements of endurance sports maybe to the rest of your life or to your coaching practice?
Oh, that's a good question. Life's challenging sometimes, and it's not a sprint, right? So endurance sports, if anything, endurance sports has taught me, and through the trials that have come with it, has taught me to learn how to persevere and overcome obstacles in my life, whether that's financially or with relationships. I always find a way to find an option not to give up, or find a way, or find a solution to what I need.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy how something like endurance, because it in a lot of ways it's almost kind of like a microcosm of life in itself.
Mhm.
It can almost feel like a race, and it can be hard to get out of that mindset that you're in this race from the beginning to
Right.
the end, and just enjoy that third lap per se.
Yeah, right.
So how how has your view of because we talk about happiness quite a bit in this positive psychology class. It's basically about the science of happiness, and I was curious
Okay.
is how throughout your life has your view of happiness changed?
This is going to be interesting. My view of happiness really hasn't changed a whole lot. Uh, because personally, I believe that true happiness it comes from knowing Jesus Christ. And of course, uh, my path has varied throughout life where I haven't always stayed the course, following him, and I have a human nature like everyone else. But if we always pursue happiness, then there's always that next thing we want to pursue. And so there's always that next high. Like for example, in running, for example, we're always chasing that next PR or win our age group, but that high is short-lived. And so if we're always relying on that, we're never going to be truly happy. And that comes the same thing in life, whether you're trying to pursue financial goals or some other object you're after, and all that short-lived because we may reach those goals, but we always want something more once we met that. So happiness is kind of like a more of an eternal thing for me. And then there's nothing wrong with having goals and shooting for those things, but when that's your primary motive, that's not really going to make you truly happy.
Yeah, yeah, that's the way I see it too, William, because I feel like even like whenever I've achieved something, I'm still stuck with myself at the end of the day. Even if I hit that
Yeah.
Austin qualifying time, I'm still the same DJ, only I oh whoop-de-doo, I qualified for
Right.
Boston now. Like who really
Yeah.
cares?
Yep. You get it. Yeah, you might be living high and happy with that for a week or two, but then after that, it's gonna fade, and you're gonna be wondering what's next or chasing something else.
Yeah. Yeah, and that leads me into my next question. We've talked about growth mindset in this class, and I know that's something that we've discussed like in our when we do our summer cross country camp.
Hmm.
I was curious, what would you say is the importance of a growth mindset, and how are you able to apply that to your own life?
Having a growth mindset is huge, I believe, and especially if your goal is something that's challenging or you're facing a huge obstacle. Because a growth mindset believes you can overcome something, you can work towards gaining that ability, whatever it is. And a fixed mindset is believe you were born with it or not. So, but for most things, you can work out how to get the abilities if you don't have them at the moment. You can study, read books, watch videos, uh, take classes to gain those abilities, or seek coaching, for example. Uh, so I don't think the application itself is much different professionally or at home. Uh, when I'm a husband or dad at home, and having that growth mindset, I'm always wanting to be a better dad or a better husband and or a better coach. I'm studying how to do all those things constantly.
Well, you do a great job at it, that's for sure. Yeah, so you would say like this mindset, it affects performance. How much do you think that mindset um, affects performance?
I think it definitely does. If you're going to perform terrible, then you probably will. If you think you're going to run well, then you probably will run well too. Does it always happen? No, you're going to have good and bad races as well, regardless of how you think. But for the most part, if you're always thinking confident and you have a confident mind, then you're going to do pretty well for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, and you know, one tool that I really like for that you've really helped me with and helped me understand is visualization. How could you talk a little bit about the importance of that? We've even talked about the Michael Phelps thing that we had talked about before.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I think visualization is super important for athletes of all levels. But however, sometimes when they first hear about it, they might think it's garbage or hocus pocus or whatever. When I tried it seriously myself back in 2010 when I was training for a triathlon, and I think it really worked because in that race I was confident the whole time and I raced very well. And so after that, I became a big believer in visualization.
Yeah.
And so when I'm working with athletes, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, I've used it myself, and it's weird that it works.
Yeah.
It feels strange whenever you're doing it, whenever you're laying there in bed, all relaxed, and
Oh,
you're
right.
like, oh man, I'm wasting this time. Whenever I could be doing something else, and lo and behold, the day comes and you
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah, they say you can train the muscles and the mind while you're doing that.
Yeah.
And I guess muscle memory has an effect with visualization.
Yeah, I've heard some different weird studies on that. Yeah, for sure. And we're running out of time here, but you know, one quick last question I wanted to ask you is, what would you say are the roles of emotion in performance, whether that's good or bad emotion?
I think it all plays an importance, and it's tied. I think it can be all tied into visualization too, and your preparation. If you have done your training consistently, and you practice visualization, and then you're ready for nearly everything, regardless of what your emotion is at the time. Of course, if you have something, if you just experience something traumatic, that may be a different story. However, some people compete better when they're more hyped or angry, and some people compete better when they're relatively in a good mood. So, me personally, I think I compete best when I'm pretty hyped and in a good mood, ready to compete.
Yeah, yeah, we talked about the Yerkes Dodson curve there, about how important it was to have that optimal amount of arousal, and for everybody that's different.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Would you say that's true?
Yeah, that's why I said Yeah, that's why I say personally when I'm relatively hyped or I'm not overly hyped or underhyped when kind of got the arousal just right. That's when I tend to compete the best.
Yeah, yeah. For me, it's usually I don't know. I'm excited before I perform well, but my body doesn't necessarily
Yeah.
show it. Like I feel relaxed, but in my head I'm excited. That's
Right.
whenever I know that I'm ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. All right, William. Well, I appreciate you coming on here today for this project of mine, and hopefully we're able to do something with this as well. I think that we had
Awesome.
a
Yeah.
really good talk today, and like I said, all these things they relate to endurance in so many ways, but also at the same time, it can relate to life as a whole as well. Um,
Exactly.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. And you
Thanks,
have,
TJ.
all righty. All right. Thank you.